Okay, today's little drive is we're currently
School
in
zone
Hollywood
ahead.
Park,
The speed limit is
and
40 kilometres.
up to the left here is a mobile phone seatbelt camera. Which I'll be able to add to my mobile phone seatbelt page on my speed camera locations website. For those of you interested in the mobile phone seatbelt cameras, they have a basically cover two lanes going in the direction you're travelling towards them, so they don't see you from the other side of the road. And with each of the two lanes there's infrared flashes or panels to light up your car. There's one picture taken from above looking down into your cabin, and there's one from a front looking, so they can see you holding the camera or your phone on your lap, and they can also see if you've got it up near your ear. Talking on it, and so here it is coming up here in front of us. Now, if you're curious as to how I found this camera, because I haven't just coincidentally gone past it, I've been watching Waze, and interestingly with Waze, if you want to find some of these cameras, you can actually monitor Waze over a day and see which cameras were there in the morning and which cameras were there in the afternoon or night. And sometimes the most obvious is very late at night, is there's only a few blue dots on the Waze app which shows you where sort of police reports are. There's no separate section, so basically if it's stayed there all day and it's been reported multiple times, and a good sign is a couple of dozen times, then it's a pretty high probability that it's a mobile phone seatbelt camera. Well, here it is, here we're going. So there it is. Thank you for watching this video.
School zone ahead. The speed limit is 40 kilometres.
Not good. Looks like I'm going to get stuck in the wrong lane. Didn't know the third lane was a left, right turn lane as well. Oh well, good day for a drive, as they say. over the place.
light speed camera ahead. The speed limit is 70 kilometers. Red light speed camera ahead. The speed limit is 70 kilometers. red light speed camera ahead. The speed limit is 70 kilometers.
brakes, but the Tesla isn't, so it's obviously using regen to slow it down. So if you're not paying attention, you won't see their brake lights come on anymore. So he's speeding up. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a combination going on. So there could be an emergency situation. Probabilities against it. Road work ahead. 80. We can go faster. Yay! I have to get off at Thompson's Road. Most of the backlog occurs for traffic going past that, but not very far past that. It's the Northeast Link. Hopefully this will all be fixed. The real problem, if you look at the traffic using Google Maps and have a look at when there's heavy traffic and where the heavy traffic is, it's on the on-ramps. And so cars have to slow down in order to let other cars into the flow of the traffic, and that means the car behind slows a little bit more, and the car behind that slows a little bit more, and the car behind that slows a little bit more, until eventually you get the cars stopping. So merging into traffic is a real killer of time. Only because each car has to add a little bit more to stop. Now once the cars are actually linked together and you're not doing anything, they'll actually keep the distance pretty close, so the flow of the traffic will actually be far more consistent than what we humans can do. If you think about it, when you take off at a set of traffic lights, the first person takes about 2 seconds to recognise the lights have changed and then take off. The next person turns around and takes a similar sort of time to wait for the car in front of it to take off. Now they've got a little bit more notice, but there's still a delay, and then the next person's waiting for that next car to take off. So they take off. So the cars actually spread out. Whereas in the future, once the traffic light changes, the front car will take off and the following cars will all take off as well, creating the distance between them as they take off. So it will be a much quicker for the masses, not for an individual. An individual car can race around and do a lot of things, but the way you get more traffic through is to actually slow them down to reduce the spacing between the cars, so you've got more traffic per hour going through a certain location. Look, there's a beautiful run. God, I'm lucky that I'm where I have to get off. Actually, I could also go straight ahead, but I never do, because look at it.
Speed zone change ahead. 70 kilometres.
Normally I'd stick to the middle lane, not the left turn into Bull Lane or the right turn, because in the old exchange, the right turn, cars and trucks would come across and then they would block this lane completely. The other day, driven on this part of the road, I noticed that the cars have to stop down there over this hill at the set of traffic lights, so they don't go across, and so they don't block the road, or didn't appear to. So we'll soon see whether or not that holds true today. But here we go, and it's the left-hand lane, or the middle lane as I called it, that was actually delayed worse than this right-hand lane. So you're getting used to it, and there you go. You can see all the traffic down there on the freeway. And so now the right of the two lanes going straight through to Thompson's Road is actually a better run. Didn't see that coming. They're going into the bus exchange, that bus interchange. Over there in the childcare centre. Childcare centres like big animals as mascots for advertising. So you may hear that beeping in the background. I've written an app called speed limit alerts, and basically as I go past signs, it's picking up the location, picking up the data, and comparing it with my speed, and it'll let me know if I'm actually speeding or not. Still working on this application. I started in about May, had a bit of a holiday, about 6 weeks. And then it continued on. And even today, I was doing some programming. There's still parts of it that don't work. And when I change something, and the reasons it don't work are incredible. It's not just me, but I have to look at the data. The language I use is JavaScript. And today, I found something that wasn't working. It will register the mobile cameras. People can register them, and as a result, when you're driving along, it will let you know that you're getting close to one that's been entered that day. So I'll leave it for a whole day. However, that function is still not working, and I changed the file format to what's called pipe delimited, which is separated by vertical bars into tab delimited, which is a bit easier to maintain. So that's fine. Different approach, and at the end of every line, even though I say split at the end of line breaks, it added a carriage return. So the last field had a carriage return on, and so when you try to compare with the value of that field, it wouldn't work. So still working on it, but eventually I'll get it to work. It's actually, for me, doing a good job just doing the speed limits. It shows me, it tells me as soon as I get above 1 kilometre an hour above the speed limit, and if it will let me go above one GPS reading, but if I'm still above it, the next GPS reading, it will tell me to slow down, and that's exactly what I wanted. Today's drive, I went through parts of St Kilda, Toorak Road, and basically the data that I picked up was from earlier this year from the government, but it's about 85% correct, and that area down there is 40 kilometres an hour now, and it used to be 60, so I'll have to go through the drive and pick up all those speed signs and enter it into the get rid of the old speed signs, or change them if they've been changed, or put in new ones. There was also an issue down in Albert Park where there was a service lane, and the service lane had 40 kilometres an hour and the main road had 60. So I need to handle that in the setup that I've got. So there's no way I can know that's going to happen until I actually drive past the location, be sitting in the appropriate lane, that it's actually picking up a side, slower side service lane. Anyway, that's enough of my web app. It's what I'm using, it's what I'm enjoying. Not enjoying writing it so much now, but still enjoying using it. So coming down here 60 kilometres an hour, I'm currently doing 48, 49, 50, 51. Beeps as it goes past that sign. Now the actual version that everybody else uses, which is the same version, just the flag turned off, does not beep. It doesn't make a noise until you're actually doing something that you shouldn't be doing. As in going over the speed limit. It will warn you when you approach fixed speed cameras, fixed speed red light and speed cameras, so that function's working. It will in the future do mobile, police and phone seatbelt cameras, and also once I get the function working, it will also give fixed mobile phone seatbelt cameras. All takes a long time, but they do say you should slow down for the amber and not go through the red. But who listens to that? As that person didn't. Lots of people floor it as they approach a light that's changing, and I've seen that. Not that many people actually go for a through red light, which really shows that people are pretty good on the road. In fact, I'd probably, you can see it in the road stats that only a few percentage of people are speeding at any time. Although keep in mind that all of us, I would say, I probably wouldn't be off the mark by saying that, all of us speed or break the law in terms of speeding every time we go out driving. Now, if you don't think that you do, in the speed limit app, I've actually added a function which gives you a score. And every time it tells you to slow down, it drops your score by 1. Have a look at it after half an hour of driving and you'll see 1 or 2 points gone. It means you were speeding. And it will be things like speed limit signs change. You're not aware of it. You're speeding up with the traffic, going off the flow of the traffic. They're speeding, so you inadvertently speed as well. The one that gets me is when you're actually driving along a road that you've been driving along for years, and all of a sudden the speed limit changes and you keep driving along that same road at the old speed limit without realising that the speed limit has changed. And all of a sudden one day it hits you, bang, you think, oh geez, has that changed? When did that change? So I found that a few times. So there's about three or four ways we can make mistakes. And a very common one is driving over these hills where you sort of accelerate up the hill. Actually, you're going along at a fairly fixed speed, but you don't realise it. And there's one over near Ringwood, the big curve, the run-on lap to go around the back of Ringwood, the Ringwood bypass. And I'm amazed. I'm driving around there at sort of mid-70s. It's an 80 km/h road. And as I just come around the curve, it dips down. And if you just keep your foot on the accelerator to keep your speed up, which is what we do, it'll just start. Your car will start speeding up because now you've got the benefit of a slight dip. And not far from there there's often a police car, or I've noted that a police car can sit there. So in here there's a number of hills on Reynolds Road, and you speed up, and then you go over the hill, you bring your speed, you try not to speed, so you keep it, well, I try not to speed, but as you go over one hill there's a slight dip and it goes down, so you keep your foot so that it actually is keeping a good speed. and then there's another little climb and a dip again. Now you climb and then you dip, and when you that's where they actually sit all the time on here. That's one of the most common spots. Is Reynolds Road, up past Smiths Road. But to also be fair, if you're going by your speedometer in your car, that's usually out by about 4 kilometres an hour. The new cars will be set accurate to meet the European standards, not anything to do with what we're doing in Australia. Just like the 4 kilometres an hour, it's not 4, it's actually can be up to 10% or something, but it generally works out at most people's cars are out by 3 to 4 kilometres an hour. That was started in somewhere in the 2000s, 2006 or 7 I believe, but I can't be sure. And so your car, the speedometer is out. So now if you're going along here, now they won't book you for 1 or 2 kilometres an hour over the speed limit. That's just a bit rude. And they know that. They're not going to get away with taking you to court for 1 kilometre an hour, 2 even. So 3 or 4 kilometres an hour, 4 kilometres. Now police cars, yes, they can actually hit you, but mobile speed cameras a little bit higher. So let's say that they were doing 6 kilometres an hour before they booked you. 4 on your, because your speedo's out. So if you're using your speedo, you're actually going 70 kilometres an hour looking at your speedo. So you're not exactly just going over the speed limit. You're going over by a bit. So anyway, thanks again for joining me on this drive and keeping me company. And until the next drive, thank you very much.